Welcome back, Year 6. I hope you have a blanket, a hot chocolate, some snacks maybe, and you join me for Chapter 3 of Crater Lake, Entering the Crater. By the time we reach the gate, we're the kind of hot that is so intense you can't even remember what cold feels like. We dump our bags on the ground while Hock looks for a way in. On either side of the gate is a spiked top fence that stretches through the woods as far as the eye can see. And the other side of the gate, there is a dusty road and a load more trees. Shouldn't someone be here to open the gate? Mr. Tonkin asks. I thought they were expecting us. Now that the moment of shock and horror is over, I can tell that he's seriously concerned about his favourite pink t-shirt. I think it's fantastic that they take security so seriously. The children are going to be completely safe here, Hock says. She'll probably give them a sticker for that, I say, and we all start to giggle. Without warning, the gates shudder and start to open. Oh, like magic, Hock beams. There are cameras, miss? Adrian points out, pointing to the top of the gatepost. It's not Hogwarts, is it? Catcher whispers. More like Arkham Asylum, I say, as the gates rattle to a stop, and the space between them seems to beckon us in a creepy, silent way. Where actually is the centre? Mr. Tompkins says, looking down the winding road that disappears over the horizon. Is it much further? It looks like it's miles. He wants to get his t-shirt in the wash, I say, before that stain dries in, Catcher giggles. I'm not sure it's much further. Hock grabs the handle of her wheelie case. Come on, let's sing some motivational songs to make the walk more pleasant. Ha ha ha. Ugh, we all groan. Our mouths are dry and the last thing we want to do is sing. Miss Hock struts ahead anyway, pulling her case, which is cream-coloured, with sparkly bits on it, the same as her shoes and jacket. Yeah, she's wearing a jacket in this heat. Nobody's actually ever seen Miss Hock wearing anything other than high heels. She wears them in the snow. She wears them on sports day. And apparently, she wears them in the middle of activity centres in the middle of nowhere. William Breaming from Year 4 swears that he saw her on holiday in Switzerland and that she was wearing high heels whilst skiing. Nobody really believes that he saw her, because we all know that teachers don't do anything with their lives outside of school. But the thought of her wearing high heels on skis, that could probably actually happen. So, we walk for ages, until finally the road starts to dip downwards, and we get to the first proper view of Crater Lake. The crater is bigger than I thought. It's like a bowl set into the ground, and it's roomy enough to be the next Jurassic Park. A river wiggles back and forth down the least steep side and flows into the lake at the bottom. A wooden pier thing stretches from a hut at the edge of the lake into the middle, and there are canoes lined up against it. Halfway up the steeper side is a larger building that looks kind of like a school, or a prison, although let's face it, they're pretty much the same thing. There's a flat, grassy area next to the building, and I can see a climbing wall at one end and an obstacle course running across it. Overall, it looks like either a completely awesome fun place or the perfect location for a Goosebumps book. Do you think there are snakes? Chet asks, edging forward to peer down the slope of the crater. His foot catches on a mound of moss and he almost tumbles down the hill. Oh man, Chet is not a fan of nature. Maybe just little ones, I say, nothing poisonous. I wish we were sharing a room. I should tell you about how me and Chet became friends. Chet joined halfway through year one, when all the friendship groups were basically formed. Nobody made much of an effort with Chet. He wore his uniform too neatly and looked like a lost baby owl. I felt kind of sorry for him, but I had my own troubles to deal with. Anyway, he was standing on his own one lunchtime when a wasp landed on his ear. Everybody else screamed and laughed and ran away to the safe distance, but he just stood there. The fear on his face was like nothing I'd ever seen before. He was more scared in that moment than I'd ever been of anything in my life, and I couldn't stand it. I ran over and flicked the wasp away. I saved Chet and got stung in the process. It's pretty much been like that ever since. One thing I can't do for Chet, as Hock so unkindly reminded everybody, is share a room. I've never had a sleepover at my house, and I've never slept over at anyone else's, because reasons. The word at school is it's because I'm a vampire. And that wasn't really helped by the fact that when some of my teeth grew in, they looked sort of pointy. They've rubbed down now a lot, and people don't like to forget that kind of thing. That's why they call me Fangs. But I can't tell them the truth. I just suck it up and hope that one day my life will be normal. So I just say, sorry, chap, can't do it. We start making our way down the slope towards the building. The air is so thick with heat that we practically have to chew our way through it, and all I can hear is the crunch of our feet on the gravel path. It's so quiet, Catcher says. Like, end of the world quiet, I agree. If it was the end of the world, Big Mac stops to take a sip of water. Do you think Hock would still be wearing those shoes? Probably, says Chet. Imagine if she put on some trainers, I say. It would be like the first sign of the apocalypse. Mum says presentation is important, and that it's impressive that Miss Hock sets such a great example for all of us, Chet says. Yeah, but your mum also makes you wear a shirt and tie on non-uniform day, when the rest of us are chilling in our jeans, I say. Not sure we should agree with everything that your mum says. True dat, says Chet, and we all crack up laughing again. By the time we reach the building entrance, we still haven't seen a single human being. Shouldn't there be Crater Lake dudes around? Like, doing Crater Lake dude stuff, Big Mac says. Hock presses a buzzer next to the door, but nothing happens. They must be busy getting ready for us, she says, and presses the buzzer again. 3 loud blasts. We stare at the frosted glass on the double doors, but can't see any movement behind it. She presses it again, holding it down for a good 10 seconds. But still, nothing but silence. A screech and a crackle suddenly splits the air in two, and a voice over some kind of tannoy system says, "Attention, Montmorency pupils and teachers. Welcome to Crater Lake, where adventure awaits. I have released the lock. Please push the door and seat yourselves in the waiting area. I will be with you presently to prepare you for a visit that will change you forever." Another crackle and the door clicks open. We sit in the waiting room, which is so new it still smells of paint, and chat amongst ourselves. It's been a weird day so far, and something about Crater Lake just feels off. We expect stuff to happen, for people to come and tell us what's going on, but we're left alone for ages. Adrian walks over to the other 2 doors in the room and pulls on the handles, but they're both locked. As the last door opens, a huge man with a bald head walks into the room. "Apologies for the delay," he says, wiping his hands on his trousers. "Which one of you's Miss Hock?" "That would be me," Hock says, jumping up. I can tell she's torn between being annoyed by the wait and wanting to carry on pretending that everything is absolutely fabulous. "Welcome to Crater Lake," the man says. "My name's Digger." He points to his name badge as if to prove Digger actually is his name, which, to be fair, I am doubtful that it is. "I'm the centre manager here, and as our first guests, I wanted to take care of you myself." "That's super, Digger." Hock pronounces his name as if it tastes disgusting in her mouth. "There's been an accident just outside your gates. A young chap who works here seems to have had a mishap and is unconscious on the road. Our coach and driver are waiting with him, but we have no mobile phone reception. Could you please call an ambulance urgently?" "One of our chaps?" Digger asks, not looking especially concerned. "His name's Dale," Adrian says. "He's wearing a Crater Lake polo shirt. Have you not noticed him missing?" "Ah, yeah, Dale. We have been looking for him. He's unconscious, you say?" "Unconscious and bleeding from the head," Miss Hock nods. "Possibly dead," Chet shouts. "Thank you so much for letting me know," Digger says. And get this, he smiles. Really smiles. Me, Chet, Katya, and Big Mac raise eyebrows at each other. I'll deal with him immediately. Please excuse me just for one more moment. Of course, Hock says. Digger goes back through the door, which magically opens for him, even though it's stuck tight for all of us. Maybe he has super strength, I say. He's like a minotaur. Or maybe this place is Hogwarts after all, says Katya. When he comes back, he and the teachers talk business, and so do we. So far, this trip has not been what is expected. A lot of seriously weird stuff has gone on, and we haven't been anywhere near a rope swing or made to build a replica of the shard out of lolly sticks. And apparently, we're not going to be participating in any activities today. Children, Hock says, we've decided that the best thing to do today is relax tonight and start fresh in the morning. Once we've unpacked, perhaps you could give us a tour of the centre, Digger. I'm afraid the staff are busy and I'm needed elsewhere. We'll make sure you're fully acquainted with Crater Lake tomorrow. May I show you to your rooms? Digger says, picking up about 10 suitcases and walking through the door without giving her a chance to argue. As he hoists the backpack over his shoulder, I notice some splatters down the side of his polo shirt. Is that blood? Big Mac asks. It looks like blood. Unfortunately, Trent is right behind us. I thought you vampires only attack people at night. He giggles. Couldn't wait to sink your fangs in, could you? Lance has been here the whole time, Trent, Chet says. It couldn't have been him. Well, I don't see any other bloodsuckers around here, Chubby. Trent and his mates crack up. What's all that noise? Hock glares over at us. Lance and Chet were just discussing dinner, miss, Trent smirks. Then I shall have to take a house point from Lance for being rude and disruptive. Totally unfair. Is dinner almost ready to be served, Digger? She asks, the walrus on legs, who was striding ahead. Dinner? He stops for a moment, but doesn't turn around. Dinner, yes, dinner will be ready soon. The staff have been preparing it. Fabulous. And could I trouble you for something to drink first, please, Digger? Hock says. We've walked a rather long way, and in this heat, the children could really do with some cold water. Digger drops the bags he's carrying. His hands fall to his sides. He sort of shivers, which is weird because, like I said, it's been extra hot in here. He seems to take a moment. You'd think he'd asked him to steal the crown jewels or something. Then he bends down to pick up the bags. There are drinking fountains in the communal areas. Please help yourselves. He walks us down a wide corridor and stops at the top of a narrow flight of stairs, which, unlike the rest of the place, doesn't look newly decorated. The single room is down there, for the child that can't stay in the room with the other children, Digger says, pointing to the door at the bottom of the stairs that looks suspiciously like it leads to the basement. Lance? Hock and Trent call at the same time. A few people snigger. I pick up my bags and push through the class to the stairway. Looks like the place where all the bodies are buried, Chet whispers. Perfect for fangs then, isn't it? Trent says. Vampires suck blood from the living, not from the dead, you muppet, I say, as I accidentally whack his shoulder with my backpack. The room is fully furnished, Digger says. But for significant reasons, we've had to rechannel resources, so the outside isn't complete. I'm sure it will be adequate for Lance, Hock says. It's better than he deserves anyway. The rest of the class continue down the corridor. Big Mac, Katya, and Chet turning to smile encouragingly at me before they go. I tell myself I'm not that bothered, that I'm okay with being alone. And it's true that the thought of sharing a room with anyone makes me feel sick. I open the door, half expecting to be ambushed by a killer clown, but the room is boringly normal. I shove my clothes into the drawer and hide my equipment under my bed, just in case someone decides to have a snoop. Sitting on my bed, on my own bed, in the dead quiet of the centre, a little bit of sadness creeps in. I imagine the others mucking around in their dorms, having fun and laughing. Then I text my mum from the phone I snuck in, knowing it probably won't send because of the no reception thing, just to tell her that I'm having a brilliant time. And that's the end of chapter 3. Our next chapter, chapter 4, is Soup or Blood. I hope you come back to enjoy the rest of Crater Lake.